Alright, welcome back. So sorry about that last video. You can probably hear my cats playing in the background. I got the dryer going on, and of course my video stopped running because I ran out of space on my iPad. So here's to hoping this one runs a little bit smoother here. So let's go back to that question about Rob and his friend John. They have the same birthday, but Rob is 5 years younger. So when John is 17, you take away 5 to get Rob's age, which is 12. 18 for John, you take away 5 and get 13. When John's 19, to get Rob's age, you take away 5. That's going to get me 14. You get the idea. You take your number, take away 5. 21, take away 5 is 16. Now here's the question, what do I do here? I started out with John's age, and I subtracted 5 every time. That minus 5 stayed constant throughout my whole chart. The only thing that changed was the date I inserted for John's age. Well, they're asking us here to write a rule. We don't know John's age. They're calling it n. Any number n. So what I can do is replace that. Instead of putting a number there, I'm going to put n. Take away 5. Now, in order to do the next set of equations, I am going to solve the equation. For these ones, I'm going to have to work backwards. Here's my equal sign. In order to get rid of positive 6, I'm going to minus 6 from both sides. I'm going to write it over here since I write big. 10 equals negative d. We have to be careful with that negative d. That's like saying negative 1. And how do I get rid of a negative 1 in front of the d? I divide by negative 1. d is going to equal negative 10. For next problem, here's my equal sign. And what I have to do is get rid of the positive 3.8 first by minus 3.8. So I have to do 13.2 minus 3.8. That gets me 9.4. So I have 4.7x remaining on the left side equals 9.4. These are connected by multiplication. I undo it by dividing. Divide 4.7 on both sides. When I do 9.4 divided by 4.7, that gets me 2. X equals 2. Hannah wants to buy a $5.70 $570 camera. She can save $50 each week from her paycheck. However, before Hannah can buy the camera, she must give her brother $80 that she owes him. For how many weeks will Hannah need to save before she can pay back her brother and buy back the camera? Well, here's the deal. She has to pay $570 for the camera, and she owes him $80. So altogether, if you put that money together, $570 plus 80, she's looking at $650 that she's going to pay altogether. Now she saves $50 each week. Well, if you're going to save money each week and pay that down, you're actually going to be subtracting 5. And I'm going to say 5x. And what does she ultimately want to get it down to? Now, you know what? Yep, let's do that. Okay. Now she ultimately wants to get it down to 0. Another way I could say this, well, you'll see in a minute, is in order to solve this, I have to either minus the 650 or bring over the minus 5. I'm going to bring over the 650. And right here, this part turns into 0. Sorry, I'm not going to write that. But what I do have left over here is negative 5x. That's important. Keep the negative. 0 minus 650 is negative 650. And to get rid of that negative 5, I have to divide it. Excuse my handwriting. And I do 650 divided by negative 650 divided by negative 5. We're looking at about 130 weeks she'd need to save. What I'm going to do for my next equation is I have to work backwards again to solve. I need to get rid of this minus, or divided by 4, because it's all tied together here with that divided by 4. Can't deal with that negative 5 before I get rid of that. In order to undo dividing, I multiply, which means I have to multiply 16 times 4. So I'm left with 64 on this side. And again, my 4's cancel out, which means I'm left with this part right here, negative 5 plus z. To get rid of the minus 5, I add 5. And I have z equals 69. Now in this equation for number 44, what I'm looking at is, can I combine any like terms first? Well, I have a negative 6y here and a plus 4y here. Those both have y's, so those are like terms. I have that plus 14, which does not have anything to do with the y's. So let's go ahead and combine those. Negative 6 plus 4 gives me negative 2y. Don't do anything with plus 14. I'm going to put 32 over there. Again, I have to get rid of my plus 14 first. That goes away. Negative 2y equals 18. To get rid of negative 2, I got to divide. And y equals negative 9. In order to do my next equation, I have distributive property. I have to multiply my 4 by all my terms inside. Keep in mind that there's a 1 next to that y. So I have 4 times 1 is 4 with my y, plus 4 times 2 is 8, equals 32. Again, I'm not done yet, I have to solve for y. Minus the 8 first from both sides. I'm going to rewrite it over here. 4y equals 24. Divide by 4. And y equals 6. Next question. I want to move my x's to the same side of the equation, and I want to move my numbers to the same side of the equation. So what I'm going to choose to do is minus my 5x here from both sides. That's going to eliminate this 5x over here. 6x take away 5x gets me 1x, or just x. Still have the minus 3. And be careful over here, I still have that minus 5, negative 5. In order to solve, I have to add 3 to both sides. X equals negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. In order to solve number 47 and 48 and 49, they're all one-step equations. I just have to undo addition by subtraction. G equals 5 minus 3, or 2. In order to get rid of this s minus 3, I have to add 3 to both sides. That cancels that out. My s equals negative 5 plus 3, negative 2. In order to undo my next one, my 3 is attached to the r by multiplication. I'm going to divide. I'm doing 5.1 divided by 3. And that's going to be 1.7. R equals 1.7. And for this one right here, my p and my 2 are connected by division. So let's multiply on both sides by 2. What happens here is these 2's cancel out. Excuse my reach there. And then these 2 I have to multiply. So I have p left over on the left hand side. Those cancel out again. 2 times 2 is 4. P equals 4. Number 51 is very similar to one we did on the last page there. In order to undo the fraction and dividing by negative 5, I have to multiply by negative 5, which cancels those out. But remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to multiply the other side. I'm going to get rid of the confusion there. And if I have negative 5 times negative 5, that is positive 25. Keep in mind that this whole thing is left over, x plus 6. In order to undo adding 6, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. And I have 25 minus 6 is 19 equals x. In order to solve proportions, what I have to do is cross multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 12 times 25 equals 7 times x. I'll show you that with a picture here. I'm going to cross multiply. 12 times 25 equals, see how equals is in the middle of both those, 7 times x. So what I want to do is 12 times 25 first. That's like 12 quarters. 300 equals 7x. In order to get rid of my 7, I'm dividing. 300 divided by 7 gets me about, I'm going to write approximately 42 point, excuse me, I wrote that wrong, not 4.2, it's going to be 42 point, let's go with 9, because what happens here is I get my 0.85 rounds up to 0.9 there. Again, following my same rule, I'm going to do z times 2, but the way I write that is I'm going to write 2z equals 1 times 9. Alright, so what I need to do is multiply my 1 times 9. I still have 2z on that side. 1 times 9 is 9. Sorry about that, my lead fell out of my pencil. 2z equals 9 divided by 2. That's how I undo there. And z equals 4.5 on the nose for this one.